Hi, my name is Tel Koendrink and I'm the founder and master trainer of Novelo, where we help schools, teachers and parents create a place for gifted and talented children. Hey, we talked about mindset the last time. This time I want to talk to you about attribution style. It sounds very technical and very psychologically. Well, it is kind of. It's a psychological theory about where do you attribute your success and failure to. And basically it comes down to this. If you get a good mark, you can say two things. You can say, I got a good mark. Check me, that's me. Ooh, I did good, boy. Ha! Or you can say, oh, I got a good mark. No, I couldn't help it. It was the teacher who gave me an easy test. Two possibilities. If you get a bad mark, you can say two things. I got a bad mark. Oh no, it's awful. Oh no. Or you can say, oh, I got a bad mark, but I couldn't help it. It's the teacher's fault. She gave me a tough test. I mean, it's her fault. This way you get 4 different combinations. Combination number 1. If I get a good mark, I couldn't help it. It was a simple test. Option 2. It was a bad mark, but I couldn't help it. It was a tough test. Now I'm a victim of my life. Because for the rest of my life, my happiness will depend on whether I get, sweet teachers with easy tests or bad teachers with tough tests. But I cannot help it. And if I get a bad score, there's nothing I'm going to do about it, because there's nothing I can do about it, because I'm a victim. Option number 2. When I get a good mark, check me, I'm cool. But when I get a bad mark, I couldn't help it. It was a tough test. And she didn't explain it well to me either. Now you get narcissistic. Now you get very egocentric. Because whenever stuff goes wrong, you ignore it. And when it goes right, you pat yourself on the shoulder, you make yourself even bigger. You really get kind of megalomania. The exact opposite of it is the martyr. Because the martyr says, I got a good mark, couldn't help it. But I got a bad mark, oh no, I'm awful. And roughly what you see is that the narcissistic side is usually boys. The martyrdom is usually girls. And how come? It's kind of, evolutionary. When you look back, the function of a guy was to create his space in a tribe. How do you do that? By positioning yourself well. That's focus on your good sides, ignore the bad sides, because that's where you position yourself better. Girls is actually the opposite thing, because women need to have social integration acceptance. They actually have a bigger area in their brain dedicated to that. And maybe this is a new lesson for you. That's a free tip that I got here for you. Social acceptance doesn't work this way. Walk into a group and saying, I got an A+, how about you? That's not the way to get social acceptance. What do? I got an A+, yeah, but it was an easy test, I couldn't help it. How are you guys doing? So, martyrdom and narcissistic and even victim doesn't help you forward, because you don't really look at what you can do. And that's option number 4, focused on development. Whether I get an A or whether I get an F. What can I do to make it better? Whether I get a good grade or a bad grade, what can I do to move forward, to make it better, to develop myself? Always find the fault with yourself. It's your responsibility. What can I do? Stay away from the victim behavior. And how do you get somebody to be a victim? Talk for them. The voices that a kid gets in his head are the voices that you're saying to him as a parent, as a teacher. If you say to a kid, you couldn't help it, it was an easy test, you couldn't help it, it was a hard test, then that's what the kid's going to say inside his head. Well, if you ask him or her the question, what can you do to make it better? They'll move into that development space. Yeah? This is an important thing to do to help somebody bring out the best of yourself and in each other.